Weather Channel.
The shelves are empty. The lines are ridiculous. And we were out at 7 o'clock this morning trying to get stuff. And we had to evacuate for Sandy and Irene, I think was the other one. So that memory of evacuating for a full week and losing everything in my refrigerator for 2 solid weeks is awful.
Of course, we certainly hope that does not happen this time, but can't take that precaution or can't take that risk. You need to take the precautions, and with the hurricane warning in effect, if you're told to get out, that's your best bet. You don't want to be traveling as the storm is coming on shore on Long Island, possibly as a hurricane. So out into the Hamptons and boarding up or cleaning up, getting stuff that can be blown away. Loose objects, of course, one of the big things, covering windows. Those loose objects, whether they're yours or from your neighbors, can come through windows. We know that. We've seen that. And on Long Island, it's going to be heavy rain. It's going to be wind, surge, rough surf. Also, if we see severe storms and tornadoes, that's also on the table right here for especially the eastern part of Long Island. So tracking Henri here at the Weather Channel. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where it is the night before Henri. And where we are here at this cove, there's a restaurant with a bar, and they have live music. It's, kind of feels almost like a business as usual kind of evening. But unfortunately, Mark, for possibly millions of people in the Northeast are at risk of this being the last night of electricity for who knows how long. Again, it's not a guarantee everybody's going to lose electricity. That looks like one of the things that is probably going to happen because the duration of the winds, the strength of the winds turning. So, Mark, with the top of the hour, late last hour, we got the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. And in a couple of hours, we've seen that this storm is now going a little bit faster than 20 miles an hour. Yeah. So it's moving along now at a decent clip. What do you make of that? Because that was one of our big concerns. Is that, and still, I mean, it's not going to zip out of here. That's one of our big concerns in terms of eventual flooding that we will see here. But in terms of its chances for strengthening before landfall, what do you make of that? We also have to factor in that speed too, with the winds on the right side of the storm, right? So you have to think of that as well. Yeah. Again, just bring a little extra push. So just let's focus on that. Just this speed, what are the implications now of a slightly faster storm?
Sure, Chris, that fast-forward motion will make it so that we, don't have a lot of time left over the water before it comes in. We're going to start to have direct impacts on land by tomorrow morning. So that's part of the story, but also the water's getting much cooler as we go north. And since we won't be spending as much time over them because of this fast-forward speed, now the models tend to slow this down, but maybe slow it down at or after landfall. So, we're really hauling through this part of the forecast. We slow down in here, somewhere in the turn. Because of that, we don't take off too much of the wind speed. Yes, the waters do cool and cool dramatically across much of this area as it goes over these waters. The heat content is almost non-existent. But because we're moving so fast, we're not going to be able to spin out those winds very quickly. The forecast calls for a hurricane to still be coming in and then transition much faster to tropical storm status.
And the location of where you are when it makes landfall means everything. In this case, it's not all the bad weather is going to be on the right side of the system, and usually that's where a lot of the wind is, but this and the rain, the west side could have a lot of rain out of this. So, Mark, when we look at what's going to happen tomorrow, I'm thinking about what's going on right now. Behind me, about 30 miles, as the Seagull flies over New York City right now. And we're not that far away. Every once in a while, in the sky, we'll see some flashes. We don't hear thunder. We're pretty far away, but we'll see flashes up high in the clouds, a sign of the intense rain that's coming down with all the flash flood warnings that are in effect right now in the borough. It just reminds me that the distance, you can have a huge difference in what you get based on not that far in distance.
Oh, sure. And so we can kind of break that down by just looking at where that axis of flood potential will be. Now, remember, for tonight, because of that upper level low kind of steering everything in towards the north or even a little bit northwest, the most likely spot for flooding was actually central and South Jersey, according to the Weather Prediction Center. But right now, we're seeing that flooding bullseye over the paved-over megalopolis of New York City and the surrounding communities on the Jersey side. By tomorrow, we're starting to spread that out. I think landfall takes place maybe on the eastern tip of Long Island, but looking more likely eastern Connecticut into Rhode Island. But at that point, the precip starts to rotate around, and we may actually have a good bit of that heaviest rain on the west side of the storm. The location of landfall matters, Chris, for what direction the winds will be coming in. That affects the storm surge more than anything else. But this whole region is going to see enough wind for power outages, tree damage, and a lot of flooding.